Hello, this is Charles Scoville, your Golden Harvest Great Lakes area agronomist, and I'm happy to welcome you back for another edition of the Golden Harvest Agronomy In Action podcast. Today is the 22nd of May, and across Michigan, northern Indiana, and northern Ohio again, a lot has changed. Temperatures have been up and down, and rainfall has been scattered, and really only held back my folks in northern Ohio again. As for my travels this week, I've had a chance to spend time in both Indiana and Ohio. It was interesting to see how there was almost a line between that very northern part of western Ohio and the rest of northern Ohio on who was able to get some crops in the ground and others that are still waiting to get started. The heavier soils of that part of the country are just very unforgiving in a wet spring, and this looks to be another year to try their patience and wait for the conditions to allow them to get their seed in the ground. Now, meanwhile, in northern Indiana, things look to be moving along a lot better this week. I spoke to one farmer there who was done with their beans and 50% done with their corn. I was even able to drive by a few fields where you could start to row the crop from the roadside there. Now in Michigan, for the most part, we've been making amazing progress. And while some farmers are done planting, many others expect to be done by mid-next week. Now with all this good news, I also spoke to some folks up in the Thumb area of Michigan earlier in the week. And there were some areas up there that received inches of hail. Strong winds created some sand blasting and even a tornado there. Now, these combined weather events had little effect on the mostly unemerged corn and soybean crop, but they caused a number of acres of sugar beets to be added to the list of replant for this year. Now, in addition to farmers making great progress on their own fields, we too have made great progress on planting test plots. I'm actually excited to say that by the end of the day today, we should have the last of our Agronomy In Action training plots in the ground. Now, this year's training sites will be located in Caledonia, Ithaca, Brown City, and Manchester, Michigan, as well as Kimmel, Indiana, and Alberton, Ohio. In addition to your hybrid and variety trials, we also have a number of agronomic trials in the works. Now, all of these locations are available for your viewing, and I would also like to invite you to put August the 18th on your calendar for a special region-wide agronomy event at the Alberton, Ohio location this summer. Now, we'll showcase new traits, new genetics, and some interesting agronomic trials, as well as have a great meal and prizes for those in attendance. Now, don't worry if you didn't catch all that just now. I'll get everybody more details as that date gets closer. Now next, to continue that pattern from the past few weeks, I again did the growing degree math for expected emergence if you planted your corn or soybeans today. Now, as you may remember from 2 weeks ago, planting on the 8th of May would have required 14 to 18 days to get that crop to emerge. Now, if you're to run those numbers, that same set of numbers from last Friday, which was May 15th, then we found that your corn should start to emerge in just 9 days. So if you were to plant your corn now today, the new math on that says that you can expect emergence in just 7 days with maybe another day or two for your soybeans to emerge. Now, with this in mind, it's easy to understand that we still really don't need to start thinking about changing out corn hybrid maturity choices until we're probably closer to the 1st of June. As for that same question on changing out soybean maturities, don't do it. We've had this conversation before, but for a photoperiod sensitive crop like soybeans, being grown in our region, changing maturities for those later planted acres really just doesn't make sense. Now, well, team, being that it's actually nearly 11 o'clock p.m. here on Thursday night, and I'm still putting together this podcast to come out at 6 a.m. Friday morning, and have been on the road all day walking fields and planting plots, I'm actually going to call it a wrap for this edition. So I thank you, as always, for tuning in to this week's Golden Harvest Agronomy in Action podcast. Stay patient, stay safe, and I'll see you in the field.